Everyone, it's Jake's Metal Chat. Hope you're all well and welcome to episode 50 of my Metal Vaults, where I will be exploring and showing you my favorite albums within heavy metal to thrash metal to death metal, black metal, doom metal, sludge metal, folk metal, you name it, all of that excellent stuff. As well as talking about the albums, I will be talking about the bands, a brief history, and any releases leading up to the album that I have picked. And like I said in my episode of Resurrection, Embalmed Existence, which also came out in the year of 1993, like this one that I'm talking about in this episode. And I did say the next one would be the year of 1993. And what an album this is. Just solid album right here. Solid band. The frontman of this band was my first chat on here when I started Jake's Metal Chat, and then ultimately changing it to the name of the channel. And tomorrow marks the 4-year anniversary of that chat. So, what a way to start off by talking about the band that became one of my favorite death metal bands, along with many others. This is Morta Skuld, and these guys, if you're not familiar with them, you need to check them out. I know all you veterans know, and you veterans are going to know these guys. They're just solid old school death metal. And I love my old school death metal. I prefer it more over my slam and brutal death and tech death, because it's got that oomph. I don't know what else to say, but obviously I'm going to say all the words about this album, which is going to sum up what I love about it. But let's show the album. This is Morta Skuld, and then 1993 debut, Dying Remains. And what an album. What an album. Just completely and utterly just insane piece of death metal right here. Of course, that's the man himself. Again, first chat I ever had on this channel. There's the CD. It's a little bit of artwork there, which I just scraped the case on my microphone. And the band picture right there. So I'm blocking one of the guys. And the artwork once again, but without the case. Band picture there. Lyrics. And there's a few band pictures in here. You know, because you would have used a lot of them like that, like promotional shots to promote the band. And just to show this one right here. Now, let's talk about the band themselves. When did they form? They formed in 1990 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA. And they released 2 demos that year. So, literally 2 demos after they formed. Their first one came out in April of 1990. Called Gory Departure. They released that themselves, an independent release, so that had 4 songs on it, and that was 13 minutes and 21 seconds. The other one is 13 minutes and 27 seconds long, and that is called Prolong the Agony, which is an awesome demo if you haven't heard it, from Taste Your Own Blood Records, and it's unknown what's going on with them at the moment. It's a single-sided tape, so they'll be on both sides. And then they did 2 splits. They did a split with 4 other bands. So, along with Morta Skuld, there's Dr. Shrinker, Phantasm, Ripped, and Blessed Sickness. And the last split they did before releasing this debut was one with Vital Remains that used to be on the label on Peaceville/Death Records. And this album was released on the sub-label Death Records, but of course there it's been re-released by Peaceville. So Death Records, Peaceville, run by the same guys here. Now let's talk about who did what. So Paul, as well as doing the producing and engineering, also did keyboards on the opening track, which is the instrumental track. David Stefan did the artwork. Dave Pybus did the layouts. Chris Gates did the photography, and PT, I hope I said that right, Rafi was the assistant engineer on the album. And there's a guest vocalist on track number 8 on this album by Ed Jackson, who sadly passed away in 2018. May he rest in peace. And he was in a band that was also on Peaceville for I don't know how many years, called Accidental Suicide. And I believe, if I look him up, yep, they're still going to this day. So a lot of work went into this. So, and this sounds monstrous. So getting on to the members, so we got Jason Hellman on bass, David Gregor on vocals and guitar, Kent Truckenborg, I hope I said that right there, and Jason O'Connell on the guitars, and yeah, Kent did the drums, Jason on guitar, Dave on vocals and guitar, and Jason on bass. So really, I should say Hellman on bass, O'Connell on guitar. Oh, what was about, huh? But yeah, all you veterans, you know this band, you know them. But for anyone brand new, you got to check them out. Check this album out. How I heard about them was their 1997 album Surface and the song The Anger in Disguise. And that's a really, really great song. Just excellent. And I thought they must have other albums. And I found this as well as the albums I will mention before cracking on with this. So after this, they would have done As Humanity Fades, which I also have. For All Eternity, which I also have as well. And Surface, and that's the only ones I got. So I got the 4 classics. I've yet to get Wounds Deeper Than Time, Suffer for Nothing, and also the new album, Creation Undone, which I've yet to hear, but I will be soon. Now let's crack on with the album. How does it all start? Lifeless, the instrumental, which has Paul on the keyboards. Like I said, mentioned he did the producing and engineering for the record. So a nice haunting keyboard opening right there, and then it kicks off with Without Sin. Without Sin, just with the crushing guitars, the bass, the drums, the vocals, just everything just rolling into one. And that goes into my favorite track on this album, one of my favorites, or one of my all-time favorite from this one, Devoured Fears. Just starts off fast, gets a bit mid-tempo, and then it slows down for bits of the chorus and then just kicks back up again. Dire Remains, just carrying on the brutality and the savagery, along with Useless to Mankind, which is all carrying on. So they kept carrying on that brutality, and then Rotting Ways, Withering Seclusion, Hatred Creation, Scarred, Consuming Existence, all just belters, bangers of just solid early 90s death metal. And to end it all off, Presumed Dead. And as I have this album out, I'm going to be putting it on later after I have done this video. Pretty much what this one is uploading onto the channel. Because this got overlooked. I know it would have gotten overlooked because a lot of albums did come out that year. So like Heartwork by Carcass, Individual Thought Patterns by Death, Erosion of Sanity by Gorgut, Stillborn by Maverick Creations, Breeding the Spawn by Suffocation, Turn Loose the Swans by My Dying Bride, and so on. So many of these albums came out around that time, and of course, for all you die-hard hardcore death metal maniacs, you would have been like, "Yeah, love this," and just literally got it as soon as it came out, or got out their show. Who knows? I don't know. But I pretty much, like I said, have this one and the other three classics. I will get all the other albums, and that'll be my collection complete until they start recording a new one. But it all started with this debut. You know, I mean, it started out with them recording demos, but how it all started out with them releasing full-length albums, it's this one right here. I mean, with old school death metal, I mean, I prefer old school death metal over my brutal death, my slam death, my tech death, because this just packs more of a punch for me than well, the three I've just mentioned. Why? Because early 90s death metal appeals to me more. I mean, death metal to me appeals to me a lot. I mean, I love stuff like this, stuff like Crypt Worm, and you know that more cavernous sound. And this is just heavy, brutal, old school insanity right here. And all the guys who produced it, engineered it, and those who played on the album, so these four fun young men right here did a cracking job. And if David is watching this, thank you for being on my chat, and hope to see you again soon, because I did meet him in person at UK Death Fest, because these were one of the many bands I wanted to see, that along with three other bands. And well, because it was these guys, Massacre. Of course, I wanted to see Benediction again, and Trying for Death play Hellhammer songs. Plus, I got to see plenty of other bands there. Of course, one of the other main reasons I went, Autopsy. And these guys were on the bill. I was like, I'm not missing that. And I'm glad I didn't, because these guys nailed it. Opened it up and played quite a few songs from this album. I'm fairly sure they did play Devoured Fears, because that is one of my favorite songs by them. But this whole album, just killer. Sick, disgusting, old school death metal at its absolute finest. And of course, the cover screams death metal, because yeah, it's excellent. Excellent stuff. And I think that is the only thing, just gonna look him up. I wanted the artwork. David Stefan. Yeah, that's the only artwork he did. The only one he did for the band. I'm not sure who they used for the other albums, but I'll look that up a bit later on when I am listening to this one again. Like I said, old school death metal appeals more to me. It resonates with me more because I just love that sound more. And there's a lot of newer bands that have that old school sound. Of course, when people talk about American death metal, obviously your mind's going to go straight to Florida. And speaking of which, got Massacre over there. And nobody talks about like New York and Pennsylvania or Wisconsin for that matter. But here's one of many Wisconsin bands in terms of death metal out there. Definitely give this the time of day if you love your death metal. I mean, really love your death metal. You know, you're a death metal maniac. This is definitely for you. And I know, and I'm sort of giving shout outs there anyway. I know Ken, I think he's put that Prolong the Agony demo on his channel. Mark G with a C I mean, I'm pretty sure he knows who this band is as well. So if you're watching this, well, I don't know if you own this one or if you own pretty much this one, As Sanity Fades. Where is it? As Sanity Fades, For All Eternity, and Surface. But yeah, like I said, I got this one and the other three because I got Surface on vinyl. Yet to find it on CD. And I'm hoping to find this on vinyl and also cassette, as well as the other albums. Yes, I am that sort of person when I get on different formats. But no matter what format I'm gonna hear it on, it's always going to sound excellent to my ears, to me, to fans of death metal. I mean, I love my heavy metal and my thrash and my black metal and doom and sludge and folk metal. But my main favorite is death metal. And just see it, just getting this on this episode just shows why I love death metal and why this is such a solid album, which everybody should know of, or if don't know, should be listening to. It's got that. Trying to think of another word besides brutal and savage and heavy, but it's got that oomph. I don't think anyone uses that word, but I'm using it here to describe it. It packs a punch. There we go. It packs a punch. Packs an absolute punch, and just yeah, well done to David and the three guys right here. Of course, these guys are no longer in the band. They're no longer doing anything else, as far as I am aware. When I looked them up, obviously David's still in the band today because these guys did split up in 1998 and did not reform until 2012. So yeah, so they had a bit of a hiatus for a while because they did form another band called MS2, which later became 9mm Solution. But there's not a lot of information about them anywhere, so we won't be talking about them here. I'm talking about this band. I'm talking about Morta Skuld. So my overall conclusion of this album, because I always have something to say at the end of it, why, and it's going to probably tell you why I love death metal so much. And I always say the same things here, but it's true. It's heavy. It's excellent. It's well executed. It's absolutely savage. It's a banger. And most importantly, it's a timeless masterpiece. I mean, you can't go wrong with some excellent, and I mean excellent quality death metal. To me, this is excellent quality, as well as the other albums that I have shown in this series that are death metal. Not just death metal, but thrash and black and doom and traditional heavy metal, of course, grindcore, funeral doom, you name it. It's all excellent to me. Excellent quality stuff. And I keep hitting my mic. So overall conclusion, timeless masterpiece. Quality death metal. Excellent band. If you haven't seen them live yet, do so. You won't be disappointed. And I want to see them again. Hopefully they come back to the UK soon. And I'll be showing more bands like this throughout this series. Because the next one I got here, everyone's going to know that. And believe me, that is an absolute banger. Along with this, Morta Skuld and Dying Remains. Excellent death metal. And be sure to check out As Humanity Fades, All Eternity, and Surface. And also, I will be checking out the new album, but do check out their debut, Dying Remains. And that is it for another episode of my Metal Vault. I think the ones that I show the most on here is death metal. Because like I said, I love my death metal. I'm always going to love my death metal. Of course, I love my folk metal and my thrash metal, my heavy metal, my black metal, my doom metal, funeral doom, anything, subgenres from those genres. And like I said, I got tons more. And obviously, the next one I got on here, which will be Friday, you're going to know it. You're going to know it. If not, then there's going to be some new fans checking out that album. And of course, checking out one more time Morta Skuld and Dying Remains. Like I said, this would have been overlooked quite a lot. And obviously, a lot of bands were releasing albums around that time. I mentioned them already. Because a lot of them, because there's a lot of these excellent albums in death metal that came out in the early 90s from bands that maybe didn't get as much recognition, airplay, whichever, and it's criminal, because obviously I would have found out about like Obituary and Cannibal Corpse and Deicide, Suffocation, just look at my jacket over there, Dismember, Cancer, Massacre, Repulsion, if we're talking grindcore as well as death metal. I mean, I would have done it. I mean, I found these bands and thinking to myself, why didn't I find these bands sooner? But I'm glad I know who this band is. So, David, if you are watching this, thank you very much for this excellent music. Thank you for being an absolute cool individual, an absolute gent, and thank you very much for being the very first guest on my chat. Of course, it's my 4-year anniversary tomorrow, and I thought, almost not over then. I'm just too excited there. Too excited about the 4-year anniversary. Let's start. Let's get Morta Skuld here on the vault. And let's get more bands like this on the vault, because I've got plenty. So, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget to like this video, share it around, comment down below if you have been a fan of this band since day one. And where did you see him for the first time? What was the first album you would have heard by this band? Was it Dying Remains? Was it As Humanity Fades? Was it All Eternity? Or was it Surface? Or have you just gotten into them recently and you heard the new album already? Whichever, comment down below, and of course the chat to David Gregor will be in the description below. And most importantly, don't forget to subscribe to keep up with everything that I'm doing on this channel. So more Metal Vault episodes, chats, because obviously I've got Ken of Ken's Death Metal Crypt coming back on for the last time before he closes his channel in August. And of course, favorite death metal albums, underground metal releases, and more live stuff, because obviously I uploaded that stuff of Necropolis Volume 2 at New Crossing in London on Saturday. Uploaded them all yesterday. And if you haven't watched those videos yet, they're on my channel, so you can find them there. And of course, I got a playlist which will always be at the end of these videos along here for my Metal Vault. If it's a different video, it'll be the Jake's Metal Chat stuff. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been Jacob, Jake's Metal Chat. Keep that banner of metal well and truly high. And I will see you all again in another episode of my Metal Vault.